Hey guys, this is IntroducingEmy and we're back with another Redline Tuesday. This one was sent to me by thetrashboyart.tumblr.com and with the message, do your worst. So we're gonna do our best. This one is largely symmetrical, so keeping that in mind, I'm just gonna real quick do the body. There's not a whole lot to this pose as far as like you know, the dynamics of it, which is not to say it's a bad pose. So I like to do a center line, and then we do kind of like a little, I don't know what to call this curve. I always call it like or curve, not curb, curve, kind of like a panty line, I guess. There's a specific name. This is like where the top of the muscles for the thighs connect. Is like right up in here. That's like where your pelvis is. So we do this kind of like S curve. And then let's put the belly button like right about there. Now I realize this character is wearing clothes, so you can't see every little contour and whatnot, so I'm just doing like a really basic sort of shape here. What I'm mostly interested in is the arms. So I would guess like the bottom of the pec be like right there. Here's your nipple. And then this is a pretty small drawing, so let me see. It's gonna start to pixelate, so I'm gonna have to zoom way in. I apologize. Let me also turn down the blue here so you can see the underlines better. Okay, so let's draw the top of the tricep going down into the clavicle. Okay. So what I like to do when I draw my arms, oops, my eraser is huge right now. Okay. So I like to think of the tricep as being like this sort of curved like sleeve that goes all the way over the arm. Like your arm comes out of here and there's this sort of like meaty sleeve that goes all the way over. And what that allows for, let's go and kind of dot that a little bit, is this overlap where the armpit happens and like where your rib cage and upper torso connects underneath the tricep. Now I'm making it a little more prominent, I think, than it would actually be. I also I'm having trouble like doing a more subtle line here just due to the size of the piece and the size of my pen and everything, so just bear with me. So that looks good. Let's define his torso a little better here. I don't know how like muscular this fellow is supposed to be, so I like to break the torso into three parts, and I'll just draw it from the side. So there's your tricep, clavicle, just like armor, just like drawing, like, you know, if you can imagine like the is it called the pauldrons? I don't know armor very well, but it's like the little shoulder pieces are your triceps, and then you have your chest plate, which is the pecs and the top, and the kind of the top of the rib cage. Rib cage actually sends down a little more. Then you have your middle area, your belly meat, and then you have the lower section of the torso, which covers your pelvis. So that's a good way to think about it, and it also helps to sort of visualize the way that the top piece and the bottom piece rotate on this sort of ball of meatiness where the belly is, and then your armpits like right in there. Then you got your pecs and your nipples, and I always do the X's. It's just a habit for like trying to figure out. I do it with my eyes too when I'm trying to place my pupils. I kind of do like a little target. Everybody always freaks out about my weird looking, like when I'm drawing my character's eyes. Here, I'll show you. So in Trying Human, like I'll draw a character's eyeball. And then I'll be trying to think like where to place. And then that's how I'll, just to keep everything like centered and looking decent and whatnot. Anyway, so that's kind of the way I'm working on this. So I think just for ease of time and everything, I'm going to mirror the torso. That's interesting. Trying to think like if I've made him too wide or not wide enough. I realize that this leg here is, oh, let's try this. I realize that this leg here is supposed to be dipping backwards. You can tell because the shadow is like eking up onto it, meaning that less of it is exposed to the light, so it's going back, it's going under the body. So we're just gonna do a little tomfoolery here, a little bamboozly. We're just gonna move that leg down a little bit. And I like what you've done here, where you've kind of shown the crease in the pants. That also helps to show that this one's curving up and towards us, and then this one's curving down and back. So he's kind of like taking a step either towards us or away from us, I'm not sure which. Now I realize that the middle is kind of like a little bit of a nightmare now just because I didn't quite get the exact center that I would have liked, but that's okay. We'll make it work. Okay, so just to illustrate the size of these arms, because I do think this is kind of interesting, I'll make a new layer here, and I'll just use some purple. There we go. So let's say that this is the shoulder joint, that's the bone, and then it goes out to the elbows. If you double that, because it's about the same length, yeah, so it's about the same length. But let's keep it straight for now. Let's just go like that. And then you take this, and then we'll just pretend like he's putting his arms down at his side. Even if we like lower it a little, just to say like he's lowering his shoulders, he can barely reach his crotch. And if you put your arms down to your side, the finger should fall up, I think, like just above mid-thigh. Maybe a little longer than it. It kind of depends on the person, but it should be more like that. Like around the bottom of the jacket, I guess, would be a good description. So then, if we take this little roughed up thing here, what's interesting is the arms are pretty much in proportion. It's just that they're just small, and I'm not sure why. And they might be meaning to like be going backwards a little bit, and if that's the case, I can show you how to do that. So I know I'm doing like the sloppiest like under sketch sort of thing today, but that's just what's gonna be happening. I hurt my arm. I know it's not a great excuse, but I hurt my right arm. I don't know how. I did. It hurts. Yeah, so that's, I think, more in the ballpark of what we're going for here, and we're just gonna like gonna fade that. We're gonna make this a little lighter. Okay, and now just sketch the arms. And I'll go back to my red. I think this also helps. I thought the character's head looked a little big, and I think that this helps keep the character's head from looking sort of out of proportion, because the hand should be like no bigger than the face. But I think the face, if you consider that like the whole face, these hands are like a little small. I don't know, something's just a little off there. I can't really put my finger on it. Oops, got a little lag there. Just rough out these hand. Oh, that's such a bad hand. This is my first drawing for the day. That's alright, we're gonna make it work. I don't like this hand. Let me, I'm worried this is going to be over too quickly. Yeah, I'm not even 15 minutes in, and I'm sort of like nearing the end. Let me try to redline these hands. And we'll put them on the body. Re-perfected. So I love this. This is so small. I am so sorry for how dainty I'm having to like draw this. Just as a reminder, if you're gonna send art in, please try to make it as big as possible, like 300 dpi, you know, many inches by many inches. Because when it's really teeny like this, it's hard for me to draw over top of it without like reformatting the artwork, and kind of, it just makes more work for me. And don't worry, I'm not taking your art and like trying to make prints of it or sell it or redistribute the high res version or anything sneaky like that. Okay, let me get rid of this arrow. I keep thinking, what is the arrow pointing at? And let's move the peak of the shoulder up a little higher for the coat. So one of the things I do, gosh, I really hope I'm not like bumping the my pop filter this whole time. One of the things I do a lot is I will mirror parts of a drawing, but then I will go in and like individualize one side or differentiate them in some way. Individualize, it sounds like way more sciencey than it actually is. And that way the drawing doesn't look quite so symmetrical. Though, to be honest, I was thinking about it this morning because I knew what drawing I wanted to do for, or which drawing was coming up next for the Redline Tuesday, and I thought to myself, you know, it's not bad to have symmetrical drawings. There's sort of a time and a place for them, I guess. Whether you want to do them or not. They definitely add a certain ease to the construction and sort of the final way that you put them together and everything. That maybe something with a more dynamic pose. But I like symmetrical drawings because I feel they're really confrontational to the viewer, because if you're seeing something symmetrically, it usually means you're staring at it like straight on. You know what I mean? So okay, and then we'll do the other side of the coat's drawn very nicely. I actually really like the clothing in this drawing. I like that little pop of the collar there. Just make sure when you're drawing the bottom of the coat that the edge is straight. Because even if this is sort of doing like an S curve, which I really wouldn't recommend because it's going to want to curve away from the body because of the butt. But I would try to keep that sort of inside shape as straight as possible. Turn this a little bit, be a little easier on my arm. I might also have the jacket cross the whole way in front of the body, but it's just like my preference kind of a thing. Then if you do that, you have to kind of like tuck this all in. That's like not so much like an official critique, but more like this is how I would draw. Ooh, excuse my yawny. Ooh. But the head and everything else looks pretty good. I really like these noses, by the way. Where there's like a real defined up curve on both sides of the nose. I like that. I do kind of the opposite. I do an out curve that shows the side contour of the nose, then I do the inner nostril. That's sort of like my signature trying human nose. But I do like these too. I'm stealing it. So... Anyway. Drawing them thick eyebrows. There we go. Very nice. I also like this, the Adam's apple, being like kind of the lead down. I assume that's supposed to be the Adam's apple, being the lead down from the neck, kind of implying where the neck is. I like that a lot. So yeah, I think that's good. I keep forgetting it's a smaller drawing. I keep trying to like go way out to look at the whole thing. So I think that's gonna be it for this one. It's a little bit, a little shorter than we normally do, but overall I like it. I can't really find any major issues with it, though. Maybe this side of the head needs to be warped back a little bit. trying to escape. I think maybe I overdrew one of these shoulders a little bit. Like I either pulled it up too high. You can see all my whiting. Maybe something like that. It's also a little noisier in there than I intended it to be when I started to get too fancy with the jacket. Okay, I'll stop messing with it now. But yeah, no, I really like that. I think it's overall really good and didn't have too many issues or anything. It was kind of a fun little drawing. We haven't done a symmetrical one in a while. So yeah, I just want to thank, I believe it was the Trash Boy or that Trash Boy. Let me check my email again. thetrashboyart.tumblr.com. Check them out. And yeah, keep sending your art to be Redline to emmy.bittner@introducingemy.com, and you can find that email everywhere around my YouTube in the description and in the banner and everything. So, oh, just do a big stretch. All right, yeah, I will see you guys next time. Bye.